modest two-bedroom apartment on the second floor of a crumbling building in Surat lived the Mehta family, Ramesh, a school clerk, his wife Sunita, a home-based tailor, and their two children, Arav and Mira. Every morning, Ramesh would leave for work before sunrise, cycling 12 kilometers to the government school where he managed dusty registers and broken furniture. Sunita, meanwhile, stitched blouses and petticoats for neighborhood women, her fingers calloused but precise. Their dream was simple: a better life for their children. Arav, the elder son, studied under a flickering tube light in room 203, often using borrowed textbooks. He never complained. He knew his parents were sacrificing everything, skipping meals, ignoring medical needs just so he could stay in school. Mira, younger but sharp as a tack, helped her mother with measurements and secretly dreamed of becoming a fashion designer. Their turning point came when Arav secured a scholarship to a top engineering college in Mumbai. The day the acceptance letter arrived, Ramesh cried, not out of joy but fear. How would they afford the train fare, the hostel deposit, the books? Sunita pawned her wedding bangles. Ramesh took a loan from a colleague. Mira stitched extra blouses after school, and Arav left, carrying not just a suitcase but the weight of his family's hopes. Years passed. Arav studied hard, worked part-time jobs, and eventually landed a job at a multinational firm. His first salary was modest, but it was enough to pay off the loan and replace his mother's bangles. He sent money home every month, and slowly room 203 transformed: new paint, a refrigerator, even a second-hand scooter for Ramesh. Mira, inspired by her brother, applied to a design institute. With Arav's support, she graduated and started her own boutique, 203 Threads, named after the room where dreams were stitched together. Today, the Mehta family lives in a sunlit apartment with a balcony. Ramesh still wakes early, but now for morning walks. Sunita no longer stitches for others but helps Mira with her boutique. Arav visits every Diwali, and when he does, the light in room 203 still flickers, not from faulty wiring but from the warmth of memories. 3 years after Mira opened her boutique, 203 Threads had become a quiet sensation in Surat. Her designs, rooted in tradition but stitched with bold modern flair, were worn by college students, brides, and even a few local celebrities. Sunita, once a humble tailor, now trained young girls from the neighborhood, teaching them not just how to sew but how to dream. Arav, now a senior engineer, had moved to Pune. He visited often, but something tugged at him, a restlessness. He saw his parents aging, their hands slower, their voices softer. He wanted to give back more than money. He wanted to build something lasting. One evening, under the dim light of room 203, Arav proposed an idea: a scholarship fund for children of tailors, clerks, and laborers, kids like him. Ramesh was silent for a long time. Then he nodded, eyes moist. Let's make sure room 203 isn't the only room where dreams begin. The Mehtas launched the 203 Foundation. Mira designed the logo, a glowing window with threads flowing outward. Arav handled the logistics. Sunita and Ramesh visited schools, spoke to parents, and encouraged them to believe in their children's potential. The first year, they funded 5 students. The next, 15. One of them, a boy named Imran, went on to win a National Science Award. Another, a girl named Kavya, became a journalist and wrote a feature on the Mehtas titled "The Family That Stitched Futures." But success didn't come without trials. A fire broke out in Mira's boutique during monsoon season. She lost half her inventory. Arav's company downsized and he was laid off. Ramesh fell ill and needed surgery. For a moment, it felt like the walls of room 203 were closing in again. But the Mehtas had changed. They didn't crumble. Mira rebuilt with help from her students. Arav freelanced and used the downtime to build an app that connected tailors with customers. Sunita sold her designs online. Ramesh recovered, and every morning he sat by the window, watching the light filter in, the same light that had once flickered over Arav's textbooks. Room 203 was no longer just a room. It was a symbol of grit, of grace, of a family that turned struggle into strength and strength into legacy. 2 years after the boutique fire, the Mehtas had not only rebuilt, they had reimagined. Arav's app, Threadlink, now connected thousands of independent tailors across Gujarat to customers seeking custom designs. It wasn't just a business, it was a movement. Tailors who once stitched in silence now had profiles, reviews, and pride. Mira's boutique expanded into a second location, this time in Ahmedabad. Her designs were featured in a regional fashion magazine, and she was invited to speak at a textile innovation summit. But she didn't talk about trends or fabrics. She spoke about room 203, about the flickering light, the borrowed books, the stitched dreams. Meanwhile, the 203 Foundation had grown. With help from Arav's tech contacts, they launched a mentorship program. Students were paired with professionals, engineers, designers, writers who guided them through college, career choices, and life's curveballs. One mentee, a shy girl named Rupal, became the first in her village to attend university. She later returned to teach science in her hometown. But success brought new dilemmas. Arav was offered a position in Singapore, a dream job. Mira was approached by investors who wanted to franchise 203 threads. Ramesh and Sunita, now in their 60s, wondered if their children would drift too far from the roots that had held them together. One evening, the family gathered in room 203. The walls were freshly painted, the light steady. Arav sat cross-legged on the floor, Mira beside him, their parents in plastic chairs. They talked not about money or expansion, but about meaning. "I want to go," Arav said, "but I want to come back, not just for Diwali, for good." Mira nodded. "I'll grow the brand, but only if it stays true, no mass production, no dilution." Ramesh smiled. "Success isn't about leaving room 203 behind, it's about making sure every child has one." Sunita added, "and making sure the light never flickers." They made a pact that night. Arav would take the job for 2 years. Mira would expand but keep the boutique's soul intact. And every year on the anniversary of Arav's scholarship letter, they'd host a gathering in room 203. Students, tailors, mentors, neighbors, all welcome. The first gathering drew 40 people. The next year, 200. Eventually, it became a citywide event, the 203 Festival, a celebration of resilience, craft, and community. Room 203 was no longer just a room, it was a beacon. 10 years had passed since Arav received his scholarship letter. Room 203, once a cramped space with peeling walls and a flickering tube light, had become a symbol etched into the hearts of thousands. The annual 203 Festival now drew visitors from across India, students, artisans, entrepreneurs, and dreamers, all gathering to celebrate stories of struggle turned into strength. Mira's boutique had expanded to Mumbai and Jaipur, but she kept her original Surat store open, unchanged. The wooden counter, the hand-painted sign, the sewing machine her mother once used, all preserved. She called it her anchor. Arav returned from Singapore, not with just savings, but with a vision. He launched 203 Labs, a social innovation hub that trained youth from underserved communities in coding, design, and entrepreneurship. The hub operated out of the same building where room 203 still stood, now renovated but never replaced. Ramesh and Sunita, now retired, spent their days mentoring young couples, teaching them how to build a life with patience, purpose, and partnership. They were often invited to speak at community events where they'd share stories of rationed meals, stitched dreams, and the power of quiet resilience. One monsoon evening during the 10th anniversary of the 203 Foundation, the Mehtas unveiled a plaque outside room 203. It read, "In this room, light flickered, dreams struggled, hope endured, and from here 1,000 futures began." As the crowd applauded, a young girl named Nisha stepped forward. She was the newest scholarship recipient, the daughter of a vegetable vendor, now headed to study architecture. She looked at the plaque, then at the Mehtas, and whispered, "Someday, I'll build a school named after this room." Sunita smiled, "Just promise us one thing, keep the light steady." And so, the story of room 203 didn't end. It expanded into classrooms, boutiques, apps, and hearts. The Mehtas had once fought for survival. Now they fought for possibility, and the light in room 203, once flickering, now burned bright not just in one room but in every life it touched.